I am between those lucky photographers who get to live on this beautiful island. And lately, as I've been browsing through all of my catalogs, I realized one thing. There is a snow in like 80% of all of my photos from Iceland, and I guess if I could only choose like, I don't know, 10 of my favorite photos, then 9 of them are from the winter. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized that during the summer months I subconsciously fall into some sort of creative hibernation. Which is kind of strange, as summers in Iceland are so beautiful, and also the weather is pretty mellow compared to the winter months, when weather conditions can be awful and things can often turn into a real sufferfest. I don't know if you can see it, but the sun is setting behind this mountain and is creating this shadow all the way here, and so I'm trying to go up the hill so I can enjoy the sun for a little bit longer. But anyway, the reason I'm making this video is that first I thought that I'm the only weird one that enjoys the harsh winters of Iceland so much, but the more I spoke to local photographers, the more I realized that there's probably more of us weirdos out here in the world. And this is why I'm making this video, to hopefully motivate some of you to come here during the winter time. In Iceland, it can be sometimes very hard to draw the lines between the seasons. This year is a great example of that, when we had our first snowstorm in the middle of October. But then a lot of snow melted, and now we've been enjoying sunny weather every day for almost a week now, which definitely goes against October's reputation as the rainiest month of the year. And this is the period of the year when I have taken some of my favorite photos. The whole landscape has this orange teal, and the snow-capped mountains provide us with such incredible contrasts. But I can imagine how this is a bit of a lottery to score these perfect conditions for anyone traveling here only for a couple of days. By the way, I decided to pick this photo right here as a limited print that you can now purchase at my website. And I guess if you want to support my channel, this is just a nice way to do it. And also I'll be only doing one of these ever, so this will be the only print existing. And yeah, if it's gone by the time you get to the website, don't worry, I'll be making more of these drops later in the future. But back to the weather. If you can make it in October, then there is a period from November till end of January, which honestly I usually have a hard time recommending to anyone because of frequent storms hitting the island. And that's also the reason why I'm making this video mainly for photographers, because as I know, this is probably the only group of people that can turn all this into their advantage. Another thing you should know about this period are the short days. There are only about 4 to 6 hours of daylight at this time of the year, which isn't very ideal for traveling. But what you will experience here are these very long blue hours around sunrise and sunset hours, which give the landscape this very mysterious mood. But anyway, if you look at things in a very positive way, then another thing that can be seen as a benefit by photographers are these long nights that I mentioned. And that's for one simple reason: Northern Lights. More darkness means bigger chance of seeing them. Just make sure to bring the warmest clothes you have if you plan to stand outside for more than an hour. Overall, this is the time of the year when you can capture the real raw aspect of Iceland that not that many people get to experience. Plus there are almost no tourists here in this time of the year, making it perfect for visiting hot springs, geothermal lagoons and places that are usually very crowded during the summer months. And I also know that each person will end up with a completely different experience. Like, some of you might be very blessed and you will have a beautiful weather throughout the whole trip. And then some of you might get some nice weather and also some stormy weather, some stormy exciting weather in between. And then there is a group of people that will be very unlucky and they'll just get, what's the word I'm looking for? By the weather. But if you want to avoid these extremes at the beginning of the winter, it could be a good idea to come in February or March. When days are getting much longer, you can still experience full-on Icelandic winter weather. There are still almost no tourists here, and you have a very good chance of seeing the Northern Lights. Anyways, it is very important to keep in mind that everything here evolves around the weather, and especially in the winter. And that's why I'll point you to this video right here that I made recently to help you safely navigate around these brutal winter conditions that you will most likely experience.